Hi, everybody. Welcome to Kirsten's Cove. I am so excited for today. Not even kidding. I have another interview for you, part of my interview series once a month. This one's going to be fun. So, we are interviewing my friend Emma today, and I'm just going to let her tell you about herself. Let's go. All right. Hello. I kind of introduced you in the preview, but why don't you take a second and introduce yourself? Tell us
Oh
a little bit
God.
about what you do.
The elevator pitch. I'm so bad at this. Hi guys, I'm Emma. I'm Sheer. I'm a Percy Jackson fan. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'm just a fangirl in general. I love all things books and geeking out. And I've been Twitch streaming recently, which has been very fun. With this best beautiful girl here as one of my mods, which has been fantastic. And we're playing a lot of Animal Crossing and geeking out over Taylor Swift, so it's been good times. And then I guess professionally, I'm like in entertainment marketing. So yeah, that's me.
So, how did you get into you've been in entertainment marketing for a while, doing interviews with people, getting previews of Bridgerton, which I'm still so jealous of.
It's my
How did
favorite
you get
preview I've ever
into
gotten.
entertainment marketing?
I got that screener a month before the first season of Bridgerton came out, and I couldn't speak about it for a month. And I watched, that is the only screener I've ever watched 4 times in a row before it came out for everyone else. And then I was like, do you see how amazing this is? Can we talk about this now? Oh man. Okay, actually, so in my day to day, I do entertainment marketing for kids, which has been really, really fun. And I got into that. I've always wanted to be in entertainment because I've always been just a fangirl, and I actually got into it watching Princess Diaries because
Oh, I love that.
it was great when I went to film school because they were like, "Who's your inspiration?" And all of the film bros were like, "Martin Scorsese," and like Christopher Nolan, and I'm like, I'm like Gary Marshall. um, But everyone just like looked at me. I was like, well, I said what I said. Okay, Princess Diaries was a masterpiece. But the funny part is, I remember the reasoning that I wanted to go into entertainment was because I specifically watched the behind the scenes of Princess Diaries on the DVD extras, which we deserve more DVD extras
I also
now.
did.
Yeah, it was
I
so,
missed.
it just looks so fun. I was like, this is a job. I want to do this. And so I went through like a whole process of like, I wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to be a director, and then I found out what producing was. I want to be a producer. And then ultimately, and then social media came about, and then I was like, oh, this is what I like to do. And so kind of just navigated my way there through meeting different people and trying different things. But specifically for my YouTube channel and interviewing everyone, that was a complete fluke. um, fully. I was watching this show that I love called Nancy Drew, and if anyone watching this right now also loves Nancy Drew, we're best friends. And I loved this series so much. And COVID, I had a YouTube channel already, because I was working for Canada's version of Access Hollywood at the time, and we didn't have a YouTube channel. We didn't have a TikTok. They would entertain none of my suggestions for that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start my own. And COVID happened, and I just started cold pitching people. I was like, hey, can I interview you on my channel? And I asked Leah's publicist, so the girl who plays George on Nancy Drew, I emailed them and I was like, hey, like, I'd really love to interview you if that's possible. And I didn't know this, but she had a movie coming out with Netflix at the time in about 3 weeks. And they thought that's what I was talking about. So they were like, oh yeah, no problem. Like, she's down for that. Let me get you in with the Netflix people. And I was like, okay. And so then the next thing I know, I'm getting an email like, okay, you're on the press site for Netflix. Like, here's all the info. Here's the interview. And I got to interview her and her castmate Daniel, who's a Canadian actor. I don't know what else he's done at this point, but lovely man. Lovely man. Those are my first interviews on my channel, again, kind of by accident, because I was asking to talk about Nancy Drew, and then I was in the system, and then at that point I just started getting emails like, hey, this Netflix series is coming out, like, we need Canadian press, do you want to do this? And I was like, yep, please, and thank you. Or I would email and be like, this is coming out, like, I love the opportunity. And so then I got a bunch of people, and I think it's just about asking. I think if you don't ask, you don't know.
That's so much fun. I love that so much. So what has been your favorite memory, I guess, in like within the entertainment world?
Oh my god. That's a lot of memory. I was going through my I have like boxes of like memorabilia. Not really memorabilia, but like passes from like working different things and things like that. Oh man. I mean, work-wise, I have a couple favorite stories. When I was interning at a show in Canada, we ended up getting to do something called the MMVAs that we used to host in Canada, which is similar to like the MTV Music Awards. We don't do it anymore. It got canceled after COVID, like it didn't really come back. But that was kind of our version of that. And I, as an intern, luckily they liked me and they were like, let's put this girl in green rooms. And I was like, okay. And so it was hard work. Like, I think anyone that is in the con space or the entertainment space, it is long, long, long days, like 14 plus hour days. You are sweating, you are tired, you are running, you are not drinking enough water. But at the end of it, it's always like a really good sense of accomplishment. Like, oh God, we did this massive thing. And doing the green rooms for that was one of those things where I was also really young and I just really wanted to impress everyone. So I was like, oh, I can do it. I can do it. Like, where I really probably shouldn't have been like, I can't do this right now. Like, I'm at max. But a couple of my favorite memories from that over the years was I think it was the first MMVAs we did. Tyler Posey was one of our presenters from Teen Wolf. And we had, he was there, and then there was this singer called Designer. I don't know if he ever went anywhere, but he wrote that song called Panda, and every lyric was just panda, panda, panda. It came out one summer, and so anyways, I was really excited to see Tyler Posey, of course, because I'm a Teen Wolf fan, as you are, and I remember this moment where everything in an award show needs to happen like that, which is theoretically in like reality not true, but like everyone needs their thing like right now. And so I was a young baby. I was like, oh, I gotta get it right now. Like I was so stressed. And I remember getting a call from my boss, and so we gave all the performers towels in their green rooms. There was like, I don't know, like 4 hand towels maybe, and then like 2 bigger versions, because everything was performed outside and it was in summer in Canada. So it was like, I don't know what the equivalent is in America, but it was like 40 degrees in Canada. Like it was hot. It was like you would step outside and you were like sweating. And so we had these for rehearsals, but this singer needed black towels and we had white towels in the dressing room. So I don't know if I should be naming these people, but it's like 10 years later, so it's fine. And so I get tasked with our performance arena was about, I want to say 4 blocks from like one of the bigger malls in the city. So I get tasked with like, my boss is like, okay, you have to go get these, you have to get black towels. Any black towels you can find, great. So I sprint there. It's a Hudson's Bay, which is kind of like a Macy's, and it's 7 floors. Of course, the towels and the home goods are on the top floor. So I got So I gotta go up 7 escalators. First of all, I had to sprint the 5 blocks, right? Then I go up 7 escalators, and then I go, and the only black towels in the whole store are Calvin Klein, so they're expensive. And so I call my boss and I'm like, hey, like I can get these, but this is the price. And she's like, okay, just get the hand towels. That's fine. I'm like, okay. I get the hand towels. I'm coming down 7 escalators. I get 2 blocks. She calls me back. She's like, no, we need the other ones too. I'm like, okay, no problem. I run back to the mall, and I remember there was a security guard right at the bottom of the escalators, and I had this big bag of towels. I was like, can I leave this with you? I'll be right back. He was like, no. And I was like, Okay. So I go back up and I buy the towels and I come back down and I sprint back. And this was my first interaction with Tyler Posey. I'm literally running with 2 giant bags of Calvin Klein towels, like sprinting backstage to try to get to the stage. And at this point, Tyler Posey, and he had brought his brother into the thing, and they're just walking in. They had been dropped off and they were coming in, and I sprint past them, not even getting a chance to like appreciate it, because I gotta get this thing going. And all I remember is him going, "Oh man, she's got places to be." I was like, "Thanks, Tyler," and I just kept running. And then later that night, I did see him and his brother getting their nails done, and I was like, "I like you. This is a vibe." But that's a great memory. For sure. And then my other one from working that time was Fifth Harmony needed coffee. They needed coffee on stage. They needed it right after the rehearsal was finished, because again, everybody needs everything like right away. There's a coffee shop right in front of where we were rehearsing. So it's like a block. It's not hard. I got the order. Here's the thing, guys. I'm anaphylactic to dairy and eggs. I don't eat out. I don't drink out. I don't know what a regular coffee order is. And it was at a place that we don't go to anymore, that has a very specific logo that everybody knows. And so I don't know what people order at this place. And I get the order and I'm reading it and I'm like, "Oh, I can carry that. That's fine. I got this." Evidently, I could not. So I get to Starbucks and there's a really long line, but I have like my headset and my clipboard, so people are like, "She can go ahead. It's okay." I'm like, "Oh, I'm important. I can go ahead." And I get ahead and I'm like ordering the coffee. And then they bring out 3 trays of drinks and 2 bags of food. And I have my clipboard and this giant mic pack and my like walkie, and I'm like, I can't do this. And I'm getting texts like literally every 30 seconds, like, "Where's the coffee?" Like, they need the coffee. And I'm like, I don't have time to go back and get someone else. So I literally just behind the counter, and he didn't even ask his boss. I was like, "I need you to come with me." He was like, "Okay, yeah." And he just picked up the stuff, this employee, and walked out with me in the middle of the workday, walked across. Security, thankfully, very much liked me, and I was like, "He's with me." And they were like, "Okay." And then I took him backstage, and we gave coffee to Fifth Harmony, and I'm pretty sure I made that man's entire life. But, like, he didn't even ask anything. He was like, "Let's go."
They don't get paid enough.
Exactly, but like back then, like we didn't know everything we know about capitalism, so I was like, "You go, my man's." Like,
I wonder, I'm sure, so like working in like retail, I'm sure they were fully aware what was going on nearby
they must have been.
and like fully aware that like they were going to need coffee. So the fact that you walk in with like a clipboard and like a headset, like, "Oh, you're very much a part of like this awards. Like, yeah, screw it. Like, I'm all," or he was in fact the manager and was just like, "Fucking I'm out." Like,
That could have been true, actually. I have no clue. I was in such a rush and like so much anxiety. I was like, "I need you to come with me right fucking now." And he was like, "Okay."
you're just like a really nice person and saw like, she's just straight up like panicking, like saw like the panic like on your face and was just like, "We're just gonna go." Like,
Yeah.
you very clearly like you have places to be, in the words of Tyler Posey.
Yeah, exactly. I still have, I don't know what box it's in, but I still have his dressing room sign. I stole it, and it says Tyler Posey, MFBAs. It's just a piece of printout paper, but I was like, I need to keep this. It was good times.
Okay, so shifting gears slightly, you and I have talked a lot about book adaptions on Twitch, and we are huge fans of them.
Yes.
And so I want to know what your top 5 book adaptions are.
Oh my god. Not Percy Jackson. Unless we're talking the TV shows.
What are the TV shows?
I was gonna say, unless we're talking full movies and TV, like across the board.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like when
Okay.
I've now like whenever I like say like book adaptions, I just kind of include like TV shows in there too, like
Okay.
because of that.
Yeah.
Because I think they've done some really good ones and some really not. So yes,
Yes.
include TV shows. I really liked how that was your first, like, no.
I'm wearing the t-shirt, but it's for the TV show only. Okay, this is in no particular order, by the way.
That's
I'm
okay.
just gonna do top 5. Definitely the Percy Jackson TV show. Phenomenal job. Incredible. Uh, Catching Fire. I love Catching Fire, and it was done really well. Might be out of pocket, but The Fault in Our Stars. I thought The Fault in Our Stars was a beautiful adaptation. And then the last two, I gotta go with Harry Potter. I gotta go with Prisoner of Azkaban and Philosopher's Stone. Anything after the third movie, I have issues with. But up until the third movie...
I was going to say, when you said Harry Potter at first, I was like, we might have issues depending on what follows this statement.
No, after the third one, they tank. But the first 3, very well done. I feel like I'm going to be, like, forgetting ones, but... I mean, there's definitely other ones, like Sam Claflin's in some good ones. Oh, I mean, obviously the Hunger Games prequel, but okay, I have a note on that I actually did want to expand on that we were talking about earlier, but, like, give me some other ones that I'm missing. I mean, okay, I love Pride and Prejudice, but I don't really think of that. I mean, I guess, yeah, it is a book adaptation, but it's just so expansive that I don't really ever think of it as anything other than, like, just Pride and Prejudice as a whole. I don't know.
I have, like, book adaptions to read and watch, just as The Hating Game, which I have in fact watched.
Oh my god, The Hating Game. That was actually really well done. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. I love the Twilight movies as, like, ridiculous.
I love the Twilight movies. I just don't know how good of an adaptation it is.
Well, the last book, not so good. The other ones, rock on. Not really the last one. There's a lot of stipulations there. But, okay, I want your opinion on something, though, because this is what I was going to bring up before we started recording. In the book to adaptation thing, what I find really interesting is that there's a lot of characters that they give a lot more humanity to on screen versus in the books. And I just kind of wonder why that is, if they think that will pull the audience in more, or if they just can't because a lot of it's, like, internal dialogue. But just thinking about, you haven't read the prequels yet, but when you read the Hunger Games prequel, he's really awful. But, like, in the movie, like, the actor gives him so much humanity. And that, to me, is the same with, like, what Alan Rickman gave Snape. Like, Snape is such a bully in the books, but you kind of... you love Alan Rickman, or, like, even Draco Malfoy, or, like, there are certain characters that... I mean, okay, Draco was a child, I guess. But, like, there's just certain things about certain characters where in the book you're like, oh, that was my other point, because I just finished reading Mockingjay. Gale and Katniss have such a more contentious relationship in the books, and he's very adamant about his stance on war, and she wants to, like, help more civilians, and there's that piece too. Like, I recently have been finding that a lot with screen to movie adaptations, and I just wonder why you think they do that. I don't know, because I'm like, I feel like they could do it if they wanted to, so they must be doing it on purpose to, like, maybe the audience wouldn't like the movie as much. I don't know.
Yeah, I think for, like, with some of these, so, like, especially, like, the early ones, we got such a... or some of these characters, so, like, Draco and Snape and Gale, like, when they were written, like, they were very much used in, like, plot devices. So, like, they were a little bit more harder, more a little bit, like, defined, and, like, that was, like, their, like, characteristic. And then when we finally got, like, the movies, we're just like, okay, we need a little bit more well-rounded human. Like,
True.
you do not just love war. Like, that's not your, like, whole personality. But in a book, like, that's okay, because, like, we were just getting it from Katniss's perspective. So Gale being about being in love with her, or being jealous of Peeta, and loving war, those were his 3 personality traits, pretty much. in the book. That's all he had.
Yeah.
But like in the movie, like you need to have a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
And also like the actors that they cast, like I think just brought like almost a softness to the role that
Yeah. Yeah. I
I think it very
definitely.
much depends on who
No,
they
that makes
cast.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it just depends on the character for me because I'm a Hermione fan.
I know you are.
So I'm
Same.
I don't I agree with that. I think Draco was pretty one note in the books. But then Snow to me is different because we were in his head the whole time in that book. And I mean, we'll have to talk about it when you read it, but he's just very, very calculated and very, very conniving and manipulative the whole time. And then you watch the movie and you're like that actor kind of did what Tom Felton did with Draco Malfoy, and I'm like, it seems like almost a little irresponsible to me. I'm like, you're making people like you and want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you're literally like, we know where you end up in the story. Like, we know where you are. Like, I'm like, at least Draco could have a redemption arc, Like, we don't know where he went. Like, interesting.
And maybe with some of these characters, it's like we want to make it seem that, or like we want to show that there's these people can be so complex that like they can end up in such an awful position, but it could have gone either way. It just was choices, like to like show the like moral of the story that like it was choices that they made, or it was always like you had hope for them to be better, but it was always in their nature to not be like good. And that even though like we tried, and even though as an audience we wanted them to be good, like they just weren't. And like sometimes there are just people like that, like no matter how much you want them to, like how much you want these characters and how much you want these people to just like become good, like you as an audience cannot wish it so.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that makes sense. That's a good way to put it.
So do you, like, we kind of not already talked about this, but do you prefer when book adaptations are TV shows or movies?
Oh. I think it depends.
Now that we have like the Percy Jackson show, and then we also have like these wonderful trilogy movies, like
I think it depends on the book. I think, which I know is kind of a cop-out answer, but I think it really depends on the book and the writers, because we could have gotten more out of Catching Fire, but that movie to me is pretty perfect. I don't know if we needed 8.5 hours of show. I mean, we could have. Like, I love Finnick. I would take more Finnick. But, like, that was done. I think that the writers just cared enough, and the adaptation was almost so exact. Like, a lot of the lines are pulled directly from the book. Whereas...
they literally just, like, highlighted it and said...
Yeah.
Into script.
Yeah. But then, with Percy Jackson... I mean, they also had a really small book to work with, but I think... I don't know, they also did a really good job with 8 episodes, and maybe it's because I'm soured on the movie of what they did.
And it could be like right now TV just looks at like 8 episode seasons. Like we're no longer in that 22 episode season thing. So like TV shows are also just only like 8 to 10 episodes now.
Yeah, which I have a love-and-hate relationship with. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because we definitely couldn't get 22 episodes out of Catching Fire. Like, it couldn't be... I guess Hunger Games could have been a multi-series show, but, like, that movie is so perfect. So I think it maybe just depends on the writer and the medium. I don't know if there's an exact choice that I would prefer.
Well, now that, like, you've been kind of a little bit more in front of the camera, besides like you're no longer as much like in behind the scenes, kind of like what we talked about earlier of being a runner in the green room or an intern behind the scenes. You have started streaming and been kind of more in front of the camera, so I'm curious on what that switch has been like of going from behind to in front.
Yeah, honestly I think it was just like a big thing for my self-confidence journey, because as a kid I originally wanted to be in front of the camera. I originally wanted to be like an actor. I thought it would be so cool. And then I didn't lose my self-confidence when I wanted to be a director or producer. I just really like organizing things. I was like, oh my God, like a job where I can just make lists all the time. This sounds fantastic. And
Sounds like a
then,
dream job.
yeah, honestly, I was like, I am great at organizing. I could do this. But I think in high school, my self-confidence really went downhill, and I didn't really find it again until I was 25. And I still to this day could not tell you why. I literally just remember his like confidence is so weird because people can tell you till you're blue in the face, like you gotta have confidence, you gotta fake it till you make it, like whatever the heck the cliches are. But I don't think any advice ever lands. Like I think it could maybe help shift your perspective a bit, but I don't think until it happens to you that it resonates, if that makes sense. Like I was never gonna get self-confidence because someone told me to be confident. Like it just wasn't gonna happen. But when I turned 25, I, again, no clue. I literally just remember waking up one morning and going, oh, I'm pretty cool. And like that was it. Like
I want that on a t-shirt. I woke up one morning and went, hey, I'm pretty cool.
like and that was it. And I was like, oh, I've wasted all this time not really loving myself or my looks or whatever. And like now I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm cool. I've got this. And then I don't know, that was it. And then I think I was just more comfortable in front of the camera after that, and the more that you do it, you get more comfortable the more people you interview, and you get practice, and like I watch my old VODs back now. I've only been streaming for like 3 months, but I'm like, why were people watching me? like, you continually get better. But I think it also just helps to like make internet friends and like have people rooting you on. And when I'm doing like, the more I do Netflix interviews, the more I figure out what questions people want to hear. And I love getting, oh, that's such a great question. Like that's the best reaction in the world. Cause I know
That's the best feeling.
it's the best feeling because we both like in entertainment, like, they have 5-minute blocks with you, and they've been doing this for 4 hours, and they've probably had to answer the same question at least 35 times. And when you can give them something that throws them off and you're like, oh, that's a good one, you're like, yes, like I made their day. So yeah, I think it's been a really fun journey to try new things. And I think I just started streaming because I wanted something new in life, and my YouTube channel was like a little bit stagnant after the writer's strike, and work's been a little all over the place, and it's been really fun. It's been really, really fun.
I think you're really good at it.
Thank you.
So I'm glad you're enjoying it. I enjoy watching your streams.
Thank you.
Where, with everything that you've done, where do you kind of want to see, like, what's like the goal? What's the dream? Like, you could, if everyone said yes, what would you do?
Oh my gosh. I know, and it's a question that I struggle with all the time because I feel like there's so many things that I could do that I would enjoy doing, but like the only thing, I feel like there's 2 avenues for me. One is absolute dream scenario if I worked for a company, is that one time, I've only ever seen this job posted one time. I can't even remember what the job title was, but I was like not experienced enough to have done it. It must have been like mid-college, or, I mean, I never finished college, like near the end of college, but Netflix posted a job once. First of all, I would love to work for Netflix, but second of all, it was like a gifter job. I don't know what the exact title was, but it was essentially someone who had to keep a roster of all of their talent, and then all their birthdays, all their anniversaries, all of their favorite things. And you had to be the person to send out all of these perfect gifts to all of the talent. Like, if anything happened, if they bought a new house, if they had a baby, like whatever, all of Netflix talent. And I was like, I know, it's the coolest job ever. And I'm like, I love giving gifts. When I can get someone's gift perfect, like I am a person who, speaking of notes apps, like I have a note in my phone. If my friends mention anything that they're not going to buy for themselves, their favorite color, their favorite snack, I have it in a note. And I will make sure that that is like the track record of like, if they come over, if they have a birthday, like I love nailing the perfect gift. Never seen that job since, but I think that would be the coolest job in the world if I had to work for someone, because I don't really like working for people. Like, I thought that was like the most unique job I've ever seen outside of like the guy who does the snow on Game of Thrones. Like when I watched the documentary and I was like, one guy's whole job is just making it look like it's real snow. I'm like, coolest job out there. Not for me, but like, it's weird that these jobs exist and you don't know about them or think about them and you're like, oh yeah, I guess someone has to do that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
but then on the other side, I don't love working for people. So if I could work for myself, I would love that. If I could be a full-time streamer or a full-time content creator or like any sort of like an Etsy shop owner or something, I think that'd be really cool. I think streaming would probably be my favorite thing because I really just enjoy being live and I love talking to people and asking questions and like making their day. But I think one of those two, dream scenario, that would be the end goal in life for sure.
That sounds amazing. Personally, I really want to see you one day just put on one convention. I just want to see the Fancy Central convention.
That would be amazing, actually. You know what? All of this shit aside from the New York Con, which went to hell in a handbasket, I really enjoyed the behind-the-scenes organization of that stuff. Like, if it had been run properly, it would have been really fun, and I actually enjoyed spending 12 hours on a schedule. Like, again, not in that situation, but, like, you know, it was... I think putting a con would be really fun because I love organizing and I love entertainment, and that would be fun.
And you know how to market.
Yeah.
So, like, you know marketing, you know social media. You're great at asking people questions. You can even be a panel host if needed, like step in as a panel host if you needed to.
That is one thing on my bucket list. I would love to be a panel host at a live convention one day. Like I've done the Zoom ones, but doing it live, I think would be so much fun. So much fun. Just like all the fandoms. We'll just have like Percy Jackson and Shadow and Bone and TVD. Like whatever fandom you're in, you're welcome here.
Like,
yeah.
Yep.
That would be really cool.
Speaking of like marketing, you are now kind of marketing yourself with Twitch and kind of doing it yourself. So what differences do you see marketing for like a big corporation like you do in your day job versus marketing for yourself as a streamer?
The ability to do cool stuff. I think. My day job, you know, honestly, I really like my day job. It's just all of the stuff around it that I don't like. Like, I like my brand and I like my actual job. It's just all the people I have to answer to and all the politics and stuff in corporate life that I don't like. But I think, like, there's just some things that they're just so hung up on in corporate, and you're like, but like, this is TikTok. Like, it's not that serious. Like, stuff like that. Like, you could just do what you want for yourself, and I think that it's a lot more leeway and a lot more fun, and you're able to just be on social the way that it's intended, which is to be social. So, yeah.
What a concept.
I know, it's wild. Like, why companies haven't figured this out yet, I am shocked by. But it's just so fun. Like, I don't know. The thing I do find funny about marketing on social, though, and I guess this is similar to, like, in high school, when you would spend, like, 3 weeks on a project, and you're so proud of it, and it goes out, and you get, like, a C back, or you get, like, 500 views. You're like, okay. But 500 is pretty good. Like, let's say 100 views. But then the one thing that you do at 3 a.m. where you have no makeup on and you're like, oh, I gotta put this thought out here right now. That's the one that takes off. And you're like,
yes.
I put so much work into this other one that you guys didn't care for. Like, okay.
It's like, all right, you want the 3 a.m. chaotic thought? Sounds good.
Yeah. Like, what was that? What was that Harry Styles movie that came out? Something Darling.
Oh, yeah. What, like Yes, Darling or something like
I
that?
think it was Yes, Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I forget what
It's
the
with Anne
title
Hathaway?
was, but the press tour for that was chaotic, and the comments on Twitter were so funny. And so it was like 2 a.m. when I did that, like no makeup on. I was just reading the tweets. I was like, this is hilarious. I have to put this up. That one did so well. I was like, guys, I put so much effort into my other one.
All right. Are you ready for probably one of the hardest questions that I have?
Okay.
All right. This one question ended up taking much longer than anticipated, so it's going to be its own separate video. So check back again in my next video to find out what this question is and Emma's answers. See you then. Okay, so the game.
Okay.
So it's going to be classic word association.
Okay.
So I'll say a word, and the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right.
I'm always afraid to play these games.
And you cannot repeat any words.
Jesus. Okay.
So like,
Okay.
have you ever seen Family Feud? You know, like the last like a little bit where like you can't, like the person that can't repeat.
Yeah.
All right. So same thing. I'm gonna challenge you to not repeat, but it's still like try to think of like the first word that you can. All right. Are you ready?
I
And
guess.
try to go as quick as we can.
Okay.
We'll start off easy. Book.
Percy Jackson.
Enemies.
To lovers.
Twitch.
Streamer.
Social.
Media.
Market.
Oh. Farmers.
Cat.
Dog.
Animal.
Zoo.
Friends.
Kirsten.
Young.
Children.
Adapt.
Run? I don't understand that.
Adapt, like adaption.
No, but I don't understand my word association to that. Anyway, continue.
Oh. Trope.
Bad. I don't know.
Shadow.
Did you say shadow?
Shadow.
Hunters.
Luke.
Banes.
Read.
Love.
Team.
Taylor.
Era.
Reputation.
Okay, that's one.
Oh my god.
Congratulations, you did it.
I feel like some of those were so out of pocket.
I came up with all of them watching your streams. It was all things that we talked about on your streams.
I love that.
Finally, just as like a nice like little closing, where can we find you? And then give everybody like your favorite or like recommendation of like a book and a TV show.
Oh my god, you want me to choose between my children? Okay.
We just do.
Okay.
You need to do a couple. I
You
challenge you to one.
You can find me at fancitycentral on like every platform, but I'm streaming on Twitch pretty much Monday to Thursday, and I'm always on TikTok. So fancitycentral on everything. And I mean, a TV show off the top of my head, I'm just gonna say Julie and the Phantoms, because what a hug, and that show deserved better. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's great. Book-wise, oh god, I could go on. I'm gonna go with the top 3. Percy Jackson, read it if you haven't read it. What are you doing with your life? Any and then okay, this is the only book I ever recommend that is not fan fiction or a romance book or something I read from my childhood. It's called Beartown by Frederick Bachman, and it is incredible. It is heavy, so read the trigger warnings, but it is beautifully written, and I think it's the best writing I've ever seen of like how humanity thinks and interacts with each other. Really well done. And then third, I'm just gonna recommend the fanfic that I'm reading right now because it is probably one of my favorite comfort reads. I read it all the time. You can't get this, I made this, but it's called I Remember Everything. You can find it on AO3. It's Draco and Hermione, and it's like a friends to lovers, second chance romance, and it's just a hug. It's just like a hug. If you want a nice little cleanser if you've read Manacled, say, lately and you want to die. It's great.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe for more. Keep getting lost in your dreams, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.